Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. He was the #1 U.S. stock market timer in the January 2020 edition of Timer Digest. He's speaking to us from Arizona. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Always glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mark, the trading board today, nothing but big red numbers. Is this a hint of what's to come, or is it a one-off?
I think it's a hint of what's to come. We've been a little cautious. One of the reasons I became, luckily, the timer of the year for 2019 is I was following my forecast model. And to my own embarrassment, my forecast model, will correctly call the low in March, but I got a little bearish a little too early because the model actually said you should stay long, through August, maybe to the last day of August. And I sort of second-guessed a little bit because of the exuberance we were seeing in the market. It's just one indicator. You don't want to hang your hat only on one tool. I have my volume reversal indicator, and I follow other technical indicators and contrary opinion and other cycles. So you put all the pieces together. It's like the old weatherman story. You make a forecast, but, you want to look out the window before you actually state the forecast just to make sure you're not totally wrong. But in any event, the model, said that the market should be heading down now and possibly through the end of the year with a bounce, along the way without, providing exact dates for you. But we do have, we are on a sell signal. Volume was heavy. There's always a chance that they can try to rally, and I could always be wrong. I'm not perfect, but the model has been correct up to this point. So let's see, with the volume confirmation that we got today, the party may be over for a while.
And Mark, before we go any deeper here into the interview, your special offer is still on for our listeners?
Yes, sure. Go to VRTrader.com. That's Victor Robert, VRTrader.com. You'll see a whole bunch of newsletters up on the screen. My recommendation is to go for the Platinum letter, which is our main letter that we launched many years ago. We've created a bunch of other letters, like our metal resource letter, our cannabis letter, market timing letter, and so forth. But the VR Platinum, pretty much covers just about everything, and you get 50% off if you enter the promo code 2020 half off 2020 HALF and it's good for any time frame you sign up for.
Getting back to the action on the markets today, you said you almost didn't believe your own technical analysis there, but you did just in time. Is this a case of sometimes you even can't believe yourself? This thing is actually pretty nifty. It works pretty well all the time.
Well, I've been doing the model since 1987, and nothing is 100%. I mean, I can show you a couple of years where it was off too, so it's not a perfect indicator, but when it's right, it's really right. And it seemed to have been in sync pretty good, calling, remember this was put out in January, and it said, in fact, I was at the World Outlook Conference in Vancouver, and I stood up there at the end of January. I said, be careful, this market's going down, and our model said down into March. Sure enough, the big sell-off came. Of course, I couldn't predict the amplitude of the decline, but we knew that I was definitely cautious and be careful and be looking for a correction coming up. So it seems to be in sync here. So we'll see. I mean, if we roar back to new highs here in the next few days, I'm probably off. But the technicals seem to confirm it here. The cycles seem to confirm it. We also have, I know it's a little left field, but we have the autumnal equinox coming up on the 22nd of the month. And my studies over the year on cycles indicate in many occasions you get change of directions in the market, or within a couple of weeks of those seasonal patterns. The most glaring example, of course, was the vernal equinox, which coincided with the March low. Of course, we do have the December, the winter solstice coming up, the third week of December, and so forth. So that's also part of our thinking. And for those of you who really want to look at some of the far out indicators, I look, as you probably know from my previous interviews, lunar cycles. And we had a full moon on September 1st, and there's been many occasions over the decades where markets top out right on the full moons. And sure enough, within a couple days of that full moon, the market topped out. So you can see I look at a lot of stuff, particularly when there's correlation to it. And time will tell whether we're right. But we're trading the short side, and there will be a nice bounce here coming. I don't know if it's the end of September or early October or whenever. There's going to be a rally. I'm not saying it's going straight down, but the model seems to be relatively cautious here. Now, what does it mean? What's coming that we don't know? Is it the election? Is it something else that we haven't figured out? Is it another wave of the virus? Something else even more ominous than that? So who knows? But we'll find out, Jim.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Value from success. Growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, I noticed that gold dipped slightly $9 or $10 today, but compared to what happened on the stock market, that's hardly anything. Is gold going to be quite resistant to change?
It's a good question. We're in a bullish cycle for gold, at least over the short to near term. But the gold market tends to move more with the stock market than people think. And we saw the big washout in gold and gold shares into the March low. If you remember, there was one day at the low that silver got down to about $11.50 an ounce. Really panic sell-off there. So, and we also have the variable, the U.S. dollar, which actually we're long here on an ETF as a trade. We know where our stop is, but the U.S. dollar was showing little resiliency, and many believe, which by the way is not always the case, but many believe that there's an inverse relationship, that if the dollar rallies, the metals will come down. I have seen periods where they move together, so you can't hang your hat on that, but at the moment this is what the street believes. So if the dollar really took off here, it gave up some of its gains intraday on Thursday today, but it was up earlier in the session. So if the dollar does move, gold could be under a bit more pressure here. But perhaps, leading to your question, perhaps not to the extent that stocks might, because it's viewed as a hedge, and we are in an overall, positive cycle here, I think, through the end of the year or maybe into the first quarter of next year. So I'd be a buyer of gold, slowly as it goes down here. I don't know if we can time the exact bottom, if it's going to time with stocks or not, but there are some, places here we should be nibbling into weakness. Now, I can't give you the exact number to the downside. I can guess, but the chart said that the metals topped out. So we have to be careful here and getting too aggressive. But we do hold sort of a core position, and I'm sort of waiting for confirmation signal that it really has bottomed. And I don't know. I don't have that at the moment, but we are long partial positions, but not fully invested, because I feel like we should keep our foot in the door.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after the break.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Last week, the head of the Fed said we're going to keep interest rates ultra low for the next 5 years. But can the U.S. alone do that? I hear the international bond market is what sets the real interest rates.
Well, that's sort of news to me. I don't know. The Fed has been, doing their good job of controlling interest rates for 100 years and have pretty much messed up our economy. I think the central bankers, as a total agent of destruction, have done the same. I'm not very partial to the Fed. Often called for its abolishment, but what can I say? I mean, they're terrible at what they do. They're terrible at timing the market. They destroyed the U.S. dollar over the last 100 years, and we've learned that lowering interest rates doesn't necessarily stimulate an economy. Japan is an example of that. So they've come in doing other things like buying stocks, even some junk stocks and bonds. Doing other things, ETFs, doing other things to support the economy, and they've broken from their original guidelines. But the Plunge Protection Act, which is actually the Working Group of Financials Act that Ronald Reagan signed into law in 1988, sort of gives them more freedom, or at least gives the U.S. Treasury more freedom to do stuff. I'm not very excited about what the central bankers have done. I mean, Greenspan was terrible going back a couple of decades. I used to compare him to a New York taxi cab driver slamming on the accelerator, then slamming on the brake, not knowing really which direction to go. Part of the action of the Fed helped destroy the real estate market in the U.S. when they raised rates consistently over a decade ago. So I don't know what else to say, Jim. I'm just listening to your question. I just don't have much regard for what they do, and they certainly, I don't think they're the answer by keeping rates at zero or under zero, which we saw in Europe. That's not the solution, and I think they're beginning to realize that because they're doing other things.
Cryptocurrencies, are you keeping an eye on anything there?
Oh, sure. I like Bitcoin, but it needed to pull back. It ran up on the charts, moved in tandem with gold quite a bit, and it's correcting here. So if it pulls back, it might be a trade here. So we're watching that, just like the stock market, just like the gold market. They're all, hit a brick wall here short term. So there's going to be a trading buy there, whether it's going to 20,000, 30,000, or some big number that I can't say. But the Bitcoin looked tradable here, and a lot of people liked it. My chart said it had a nice run-up, but let's wait for a pullback. So one of the vehicles you could utilize if you don't like trading the Bitcoin itself, which is, sort of difficult, is it's not an ETF, but it's a stock that sort of mirrors the move in the Bitcoin. It's ticker symbol GBTC, which is the Bitcoin Trust, which trades on NASDAQ.
Any particular sector that you think is still bullish?
At the moment, I don't see anything that's bullish at this moment today. I don't see anything. Even the cannabis stocks, and even my favorite group, which I've been really hot on for the last year, the solar stocks all start to come off here as well. I still like them all, but I think that more of a pullback is needed. So that could come. They take the Dow down 3,000 points one day tomorrow or Monday. it could be over, you know what I mean? So we'll just have to wait and see, you know, what the numbers say, but definitely more of a pullback. But if we do get more of a pullback, I don't think the solar industry is done. I don't think the U.S. cannabis industry is done. There's some really hot names there. They ran up several into new bull market highs, and we sold those a few days ago looking to purchase those back. So those would be, you know, two outstanding. And the third, of course, is the gold and silver market, which we just talked about. You probably can do some nibbling, but don't be surprised if there's more of a pullback.
Do you have favorite groups that might do well in the future?
Gee, that's a good question. Something that there's something on the radar. Well, you know, I still sort of like the defense stocks, the personal defense stocks. So many of them got nailed today. Things like Smith & Wesson and Sturm Ruger and Axon, which is the taser manufacturer. They're all in a bit of a correction here. We're keeping small positions in those. We still think there could be unfortunately, some civil unrest here in the months ahead, and there could be more demand for these type of products. Hopefully we're wrong, but the stocks have been sort of anticipating some problems and the demand for guns and self-defense products. So those are ones that were, I guess, more or less on the radar.
And Mark, before we go, can you repeat the special offer?
Sure. It's 2020 half off is the promo code, and you use it at vrtrader.com when you go to the order page. 2020 half off. And thanks for mentioning it, Jim.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as vrtrader.com. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@housestreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HouseStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.